Welcome back. My name's AM Reaper. This is DMT Journey of the Youth and Mind. Thanks for joining us. In the last video, this is season 2, but in the last video was a bit of a warning video just about what DMT can do to you, how it can make you a bit of an outcast. And I was talking about pressure in one of the parts there. What I mean is arterial pressure, blood pressure. DMT can spike the blood pressure. Right, it fucks around your central nervous system too fairly badly. So just be careful. But what we're here today is to discuss the old DMT. These videos I make, the series of these, I make them just for harm reduction, really. Okay, it's not as simple as what you call harmless as you think. So this is just for your information. Is DMT addictive? No, DMT isn't addictive. It's mentally addictive, but it's not physically addictive. Almost like smoking weeds, so to speak. Oh, not as bad, but weed's not that addictive either. You just get mentally addicted to it. But DMT, yeah, it's not physically addictive, but you probably can get addicted to the mental state. Alright? So we're here today to talk about the breakthrough experience. Right, I'll talk about my personal experience. I don't want to prattle on here too much, but we might as well get down and talk about it. I'll probably break the video up into a few different sections just so it's not so long and boring. But, so rightio, I'll start with DMT. One of my mates, I was sitting in his house one night and he started telling me a story. He started telling me this story about this experience he had where he was sitting out in space and looked like he was looking down and he looked like he was sitting on a ball and he was looking into space and watching things go past and all this sort of different stuff. I sort of know what he means now, and there's a few other aspects to it and I didn't really understand. He put a bit of this stuff in a cone for me and I smoked it and it didn't really do anything. He sort of looked at me like, oh, and it didn't do much. He gave me a little bit more and I took it home. I researched and watched and all that sort of stuff. I sat around my little shrine of all these different things around and turned the lights off and dimmed it. I put it straight in a cone and I smoked it and it didn't do anything. Barely even burnt it, it just went straight through. Didn't put it in a sandwich method or anything, just chucked it straight in there and it just went straight through and into the water. So that was a waste of bloody time. So therefore I rang back up and go, oh, this stuff doesn't work. And he's like, what? And I said, he goes, what'd you do? I said, put it in a cone, just put it in a cone. He's smoking. He goes, what? And he explained to me what the go was. So, luckily, he had a little bit more. So I got a little bit off him more, and I went off him. So here, now I've had like 3 lots. And first one didn't do anything because it wasn't enough, really, there's only a speck. Second time I wasted it, pulled it straight through. Third time, I stuck it in made one of those what they call machines off the internet. You see those plastic bottle things that they make. Made one of those, vaporised it, tastes like shards of glass. Had a few effects, felt like my head was half ripped off. Saw a few different psychedelic effects, colours and tile looking things and spinning stuff all over it and different things like that. And I was pretty amazed. I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. And then I acquired a bit more off the same source. A little bit later, about a year later, I acquired a bit more. So what I thought was, took me ages, back and forth. Went round to this guy's house so he'd sit for me, and eventually, to go. And I had an amazing experience. I was, lifted up, fully sedated. Saw heaps of cool psychedelic visions, fractal patterns, different things like that. It was a bit more than the average, but it still didn't, work very well. I thought it was an amazing experience, but now these days I know it was pretty much only just scratching the surface. So then after that, I come out of that experience going, wow, this stuff is amazing, where do I get some more? And then they just said, no, we can't get any more, and that's when I started the lifelong search of, I didn't really finish what I started, so I tried to find it. That was after I was searching religion and all that sort of stuff that I shared with you before in the season 1. Then I went on a 2-year journey to try and find some more. Involved a lot of silly things. I ended up finding some more. Wasn't around here, wasn't around normal circles anyway, put it that way. And I sat on that for nearly another 18 months until my best friend came over and we'd agreed to explore the avenue of this, and we sat down in the shed and this is a story about what happened. Alright, so it was all about the set and setting. As I told you, the set, we sat in the shed. It was a nice comfortable shed, it's not a shed. It's got armchairs, laid back chairs, things like that in there. Nice TV, heater, all that sort of stuff. So it was a nice quiet space where no one was going to interrupt us. It was all dark. Sat there for ages meditating and laughing, making a joint or two, sort of getting calm. And the spice that we had, or the DMT, was pretty very similar looking to that. It was a sort of colour and texture. Actually, it was a bit yellow than that. It was a lot more fine than that. It was fairly powdery yellow. That was like the first stuff I had. This stuff was like fairly yellow. That's like orangey, waxy looking stuff in that bag there, but the stuff that I had was very powdery and yellow. Got to have about, so we had 75 milligrams of it, and between two people. I took it, weighed up in half, and the other guy said to me, he goes, that looks like a fair bit, mate, I don't really want that much. So I pushed a bit aside, put a bit more in my pile, and a little bit less in his. Therefore, he was probably pushing 32 milligrams. I was probably pushing, you know, around 37, 38 milligrams. So, yeah, and he weighed roughly twice my body weight. I weighed 62 kilos, he weighed nearly 110, I think, something like that. A lot heavier than I was, not twice, it's a bit of exaggeration, but he was a lot heavier and bigger than I was. And I sort of didn't really think much of it at the time, really thinking about the dose range there. But anyway, so my best mate, he sits down and we sit down in the shed, and he has a bit of he sit back for ages, he finally gets the courage, and he wanted to go first of all things, so I'll let him, just so keep the peace, everything's comfortable. He fired her up, he held her in, smoked it like a charm, and he sat in the chair. Everything was okay for a few minutes, for about 30-40 seconds. And he started to sort of like look a little bit uneasy, a little bit, because he was going through some pretty tremendous effects. Started rolling around in the chair a bit and sort of making some funny noises and wailing about a bit. You know, he looked like he was fairly distressed. So I held his hand and he grabbed my hand and he squeezed it that hard. I felt like I was going to break my hand, but I used all my strength not to say anything, not to squeal or go, far out, man, what? Kept quiet, going, you know. So that was pretty cool. And he returned back from his journey. He's sweating and he was rolling around the chair. He returned back from his journey probably 8 minutes later. Probably not even that, actually, probably 6. And he was, he thought it killed him. He was extremely overwhelmed. He didn't know what to say, had no words to say, he's just flabbergasted. And, yeah. So I gave him a piece of paper and told him to write his what happened to him down and draw a few pictures of things he may have seen. So as you can see here, I've got books and books and books and books and books of this sort of stuff. I used my own mind as a science experiment to see what was going on, because as I said, with this sort of stuff you don't have any, there's nothing to go off, so you can read as much as you like, but if you want to really know, you really have to try it for yourself. Okay, so that's why we did this, and that's why I used myself as a science experiment. I always love science, it's great. I'd love to be a scientist, I want to be a fighter pilot, but that sort of didn't work out, so here we are. So I studied school and things a lot, like science and advanced mathematics and things. Just trying to better myself, but anyway, here we are. Back to the DMT story. So my mate, he's gone, he's at his go, he's come back more than overwhelmed. Only 32 milligrams. And he said, thank crikey, you know, he said, what did he say? He goes, I'm glad I've done that, I'll never do that again. So that's off the bucket list. I was happy for him. It sort of annoyed me a little bit that he said that, just to be honest, but they're each their own, you do what you want. And I was happy for him to come and share this experience with me, and he was very thankful for the experience, and he was thankful that he was okay after the experience. He trusted me. I'm glad he did, because he was very well rewarded, but as he said, he'd never do it again. And if he'd known what it would do to him before he took it, he wouldn't have took it. Okay? So then it comes to my turn. So here we are in the shed meditating again, just to calm down after the last bit. And here we go. So we're sitting in the shed meditating and getting to the right frequency and sort of feeling a little bit enclosed. I've actually got a book here to read. I don't mean to read to you, but it's a bit more descriptive. I'll sort of explain in normal terms of the way I go, but I'll read the first page or two, right? So it says, right, subject, N-dimethyltryptamine, yellow powder. Aim, to experience DMT. Method, sandwich method in a bong. 35 to 37, 8 milligrams plus effects. Some reason, when I was younger, this is years old, I was riding swimmer like all those people do, someone who isn't me. So, swimmers with swim deep in his den in the dark UV lit room with Byron Metcalf Raven medicine playing. Meditated for 20 minutes before administering the substance. Laid back and closed the eyes. 0 to 15 seconds. Inhaled cone slowly, being careful not to burn the spice. Held the smoke in for around 22 seconds and exhaled. By then, I was overcome with a heavy body buzz, resonation, and my hearing went strange. I was listening to the hum of the little fan heater, one of those little fan heaters, and the hum started sounding like a radio frequency, fractal repetitive resonance. So what it was doing, it was going so usually the heater goes like, and this thing just started going, and I thought, oh, what, that's fucking weird. Yeah, 0 to about a minute. So I sat there for a while, and my vision, it says visionary field starting to rotate and twist into a fractal tunnel that was increasing in speed. It was very intricate, but I was thinking I hadn't smoked enough, and almost instantly I felt an extreme uplift of incredible speed through this morphing fractal vortex tunnel, and I felt I passed through something. It was all chaotic until the passing through, and then I was overcome with the intense fear and a feeling of, oh fuck. So, and what happened was I took it in, sat there, sort of expected to have this huge bang, and it just went, everything just went quiet. And then I felt this huge body buzz come on, all over my body just felt vibrating like it, and I felt really light. And then you just hear your ears start with the sound of the heater. And then you've just been lifted up. Then I thought to myself, oh, it's not really, I expect to be catapulted off, but then all of a sudden it just lifted me up and shot me out. And when it did, everything in this fractal tunnel just went chaotic. It was just shit everywhere. And I just appeared, after watching the Spirit Molecule, I was thinking, oh, I'm going to go somewhere and see this, whatever. And I just appeared in absolute blackness. It was just completely dark, just bang. No stars, no shiny bits, nothing, just complete blackness. So the minute I'm sitting in the chair, then it was just shot straight through, bang, just this crazy shit's gone, a million feelings of whoa, then bang. What happened, when this blackness, what happened? As soon as I appeared in the blackness, I saw this big green building, and this building was fluoro. It was highly colourful, like fluoro. And it didn't look anything like a dream. It looked more like a computer game or something. It was strange. Never seen anything like it. And when I was looking at it, I was overcome with fear. Well, it was really weird. It was like having a split personality. One half of myself was thinking, fuck, I don't want to go in there. You've been in there before. I don't want to ever go. No. And the other half of my body's going, wow, what's that? That's amazing. But what is it? And then you're thinking to yourself, where's all this spun out shit that you were expecting to see? This is nothing like I was ever expecting to see. And I was just, yes, and at that point I was thinking all of these things, and I was just overcome with intense fear, and I really didn't, I knew that I'd seen this place before. I mean, I'd never seen it, but I knew in myself, I knew I'd seen it a few times before, many times. I almost felt like I was going in, it was this big building, and I was shit scared to go in there. I didn't want to, and all of a sudden what happened? I sort of morphed straight up to it, and straight through this corridor and through the wall. Breakthrough. And your mind just, when you go to breakthrough, your mind just goes right up and just goes to this stage where it's about to pop. So when it lifted me up and went to shooting, just before it shot into this place to dump me in this blackness, my whole head just went, wah! Just felt like, I wouldn't say you died, but it was that intense that you wish you had died. Like it was just dying, and there was one part of the trip where I thought dying would have to be easier than what I just went through. Like fucking traumatic. Yeah, that's all I can say. It was just ridiculously traumatic. Into the darkness, and here it is. This is my lovely artwork. Here we are into the blackness, and we've popped into this building. There's this building protruding into nowhere. And it was it was massive in size. It was huge. And then I went into a place through these corridors. When I went inside this place, it looked very similar to this. And this is a picture I found off the internet. didn't look the same, but it looked very similar. All this intricate stuff. It was just going through the floors and the walls, and everything was so shiny. And I was just going through these corridors flat out. And I remember thinking to myself, what is this? It's just nothing like you'd ever imagine. And then I ended up in this room. Now, these drawings don't give it much detail, but we'll see how we go. Just listen. I ended up, so big building appeared, and I shot through the wall, scared shitless, and I appeared crazy around these corridors and bang into this room. This room I just appeared. When I got in this room, everything was still. There was no craziness, it was just still. It was like standing in the middle of your lounge room at home. But it was a room so shiny I could barely see. Fluoro green with shiny polished floors, and the floors like made out of crystal, and it was just glistening and gleaming, and I'm squinting my eyes. My eyes were closed, but I was squinting my eyes, and if that makes any sense, because I could barely see, it was so bright. In this room, as you can see there in that picture, you see the dark windows in the background there, that black on the back, that's the windows looking out. It's like looking at this building. And you should just see those little colours right along the sides there, those little jewels that are up, it's hard to point, up there sort of thing, up, run around the corner up the edge there. They were like all these little jewels, and they were so shiny, it was like gemstones. And then when you looked at them, they were spinning, and they were all, there was fractals inside fractals, and there was pictures inside pictures inside pictures, and there was no end to it. The more you looked, the more you saw. It's just unfathomable. So we popped into this room, and I fucking shit my pants. I was just overwhelmed. And this place is so shiny and so overwhelming, and there's so many crystals and so much shiny stuff, and you just don't know what to do. But I soon I calmed down, and when I sort of calmed down, I saw these two little guys. They're like little gnome-looking little fellas. They were fairly small. They looked something like an elf/gnome. I know people talk about DMT gnomes and all this sort of stuff, and in this trip, yes, I am going to tell you I saw some, and I didn't really ever expect to see anything like that. I thought it was, fucking ridiculous when I heard about it. I just thought it was someone's depiction. But here we are, busting in this great big room. There's these little dudes walking around, and there's two of them. So off to the right of that picture, there was the room went around, and there was a big screen, like almost like a massive TV screen on the wall. And there's a little dude standing there, and he's doing something at the screen. And there's another guy that walked around the back up from the back, and he walked around that box there and back out the front door. There's another door on the left. And they just looked at me, and they just looked, turned back the other way, and just kept going. They didn't care what I was doing. It was like they were working. They were doing something. They weren't just floating in space. They were doing something. So I was pretty comfortable with that after a while, and me being me, I thought, see that box in the middle with that black stuff in it. So this room had a catwalk type thing all the way down the middle, and two big doors at the back of the catwalk. In front of the catwalk was another door and a big screen on the left hand side on the wall, and two little guys. I went up to that box in there, that crystal box. It was like this big crystal thing at the end of it, and you could see something in it, and I didn't know what it was. So me being inquisitive, and I'm pretty relaxed by this stage, sort of overcome my fear, and I've gone up to this box and I've had a look inside. As soon as I've gone up and looked at it, gone up to it and sort of got real close and looked at it, the blackness inside the box started moving, and I just thought, I looked at it and it moved more, and I started getting a bit frightened, and I stepped back fairly quickly, and as soon as I did, I backpedaled. That thing there in that picture just came straight up to me, and it was just standing right there in front of me. And as it says there, it says 8 foot tall. This thing was, a good couple of feet taller than me. I'm 170 centimetres, and this thing it's not too big, but this thing was a good 1 to 2 feet taller than I was. And you couldn't see its feet, you couldn't see its legs. It was intricate as hell, but I just couldn't make anything out. And it was just, it was the most intricate looking thing. It looked like it was made out of light, but it was dark. It wasn't a ghost. It was really hard to explain. And it was just so awe-inspiring and so terrifying at the same time that you just didn't know what to do. And as soon as this thing came up to me, I'd read about taking mantras with, a bit of protection while you're in the spirit world with DMT. And I started praying, actually, and I asked God to help me. As soon as I did that, I got this telepathic thing of, you're not ready for this. and I don't know if it was me or what, but that's what happened. And as soon as that happened, I went back out that corridor that I was in, that shiny, spun out looking stuff, and then I went into this big rectangular looking corridor. So I went back out the ground and then into this big rectangle, and this big rectangle protruded for ages and just went, it was like this big chute. And I just went, and there was a big building on the side of it, and I was just being, it was like being shot out of where I was, and I just went zoop, and went straight out the end of it. And when I went out the end of it, I landed in a when I went out the end of it, I landed in another realm. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But what else? I'll just read this and see if I missed any bits. So here we are. Then I moved closer and found myself morphing through the structure into the main chamber, the control room or something. It was a different reality. It advanced. It was highly intricate, extremely scary, beautiful, strange, safe, structured, jeweled, crystals, shiny floors, glass walls, millions of patterns, jewels. Everything was crazy. The reason I'm reading this is because I wrote this book not long after I did it. The swimmer's just smoked 35 milligrams plus of DMT and has found himself being shot into a different reality outside of the norm, an advanced structure, overwhelmed by emotions, and then has been thrust inside. Fuck. And this is all in a minute and a half from just the first lighting the cone. As upon entering this room, Swim was so overcome with paranoia and astonishment, scared, inquisitive, bewildered. I did mention shit scared, didn't I? Swim had a couple previous experiences on DMT, but was not expecting this. Swim appeared in the right-hand side of the front of the room. This room had a smaller rear and perspective out towards the front. A catwalk 3/4 length of the room. Crazy colours. There's two small elves at the front of the room. Once stable, I noticed two small elf gnome beings out of the front left peripheral vision, but I was interested in the room and was looking like a showcase at the end of the catwalk. Lifts your ceiling to the floor. The room was off the show intricacy, highly fluoro green with shimmering surfaces all around, with spinning pictures and jewel symbols all in the walls and floors and all over. On inspection of the showcase, I was drawn to it. I saw a being of elf-like nature or something. Was it black? I was shocked and backpedaled. I almost instantly the being came out and I was almost face to face. I freaked mentally. He approached. Felt like a male energy. Me, and I knew what he was about to do. It was what he does normally. I wasn't up for it and I asked God to help me. He approached abruptly and it freaked me out. But at no time did I feel threatened. But I didn't know what was happening. I was scared. Where was I? Who were these beings? Who these beings are, but they know who I am, and I know this place, and these beings weren't unfamiliar. I'd been there many times before. I didn't feel I should have really been there, but this was my feeling. At no time were these beings hostile. Easily I started sweating, going cold and sweat. The main being, highly intricate, jeweled encrusted, elf gnome being of extreme colour and complexity, almost like light being dressed like an elf, but open. From event. Upon trying to inspect them all I could see was their clothing, and the more I looked, the more intricate the detail was. There was no end to it. Couldn't see a face or fingers or feet, just clothing, so to speak of. A torso with a hat structure, with ways of moving and using light to hold, point, and use things. At this point in the trip, I was completely gone into whatever it was. At one stage, I thought dying would be better than what I was going through. It was so emotionally and physically intense, there was nothing that ever compared. I just wanted out, but then I willed myself to calm down again. After calling that I was being ejected, here it says, I went down to this grey, it's not black at this point. I was in space with these smaller gnome type beings that were moving around, going about a task, and others were trying to show me things. After I got ejected from the room out of the tunnel, I went out in this other place and I went bang, and it was just black, and I was like, whew. And I smoked DMT, I've seen all the fractals and all that sort of shit. This was different, and I was standing there and there was all these little beings, and it was like I was on some sort of pedestal. All these little gnome things, like the two blokes in that room, there was heaps of them, fucking hundreds of them. They're all standing there going, fucking, like some of them got signs and some of them just pointing and they're shouting and they're saying all this stuff, and I couldn't understand a bloody word they were saying. Yeah. And that went on for a while. That sort of went on, and and I couldn't understand it. It was just like, yeah, they were showing me. I couldn't understand what they were showing me, so that reality would accelerate through me. Yeah, go straight through my fucking head. I passed through it into a more crazy, faster, advanced place where they were more and more of these smaller gnomes, showing me even more crazy stuff. Meanwhile, these realms are full of crazy stuff flying around in the background. After the first couple of places, I had a sensation of being watched, and I noticed in the background a few different coloured eyes looking at me, observing. Then the feeling shortly dissipated. I started watching the elf gnome beings trying to show me things again. This continued with me going into different levels of reality or places, and after about 5 or so different ones, I had to laugh. I couldn't help it. I laughed out of absolute amazement, and the fact that I wasn't educated or advanced enough to understand the first realm that the gnomes are trying to show me. So by the time I got to the 5th one, it was just like mind melt. I just started laughing, and it was really funny. As soon as I started laughing, all these little elf dudes just went quiet. They're all going, blah, 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 and they just went quiet, dead silent. They just looked at me, and I felt really, really bad. I felt like I just, really pissed them off, as in disrespected them. I felt like I really disrespected them, and I think they must have noticed that, because then it changed a little, and then it continued, and they started ramping up again, and they started doing what they were doing, and okay, I felt alright with that, and they just continued and continued, and then I actually burst out laughing real bad. I couldn't take it anymore. It was like trying to read Japanese when you're English. It was just crazy. I couldn't understand it. It was just doing me head in, and especially what happened before they put into this place. That had done me head in to start with. And then I'm in this other place. There was other little things talking and dribbling and carrying on, yelling and jumping up and down, and I couldn't handle it. I couldn't understand. It was just too much. So I started laughing, and then this time when I laughed, there was no remorse. It was just boot straight out. As soon as I did, they just went, looked at me, and I just went, pump, straight gone. I went straight back out, and I just like I was in an ocean swimming backwards in the darkness, and you see it going away up here. You just see a wall, and you're just going backwards and backwards and backwards. And after that, I opened up my eyes, and I come out of the trip just laughing, and then I was just shaking my head. Absolute disbelief. I could not believe what I'd just gone through. I couldn't believe what I'd gone through was even possible. I just had no idea how it could even happen. And you try to explain DMT to people, and it doesn't matter what you try and say, and you've heard people say it, but there are no words. The English language does not make words that can even come halfway close to the DMT trip. It just doesn't exist. And that's stupid to say, but when you see it, you understand. It's, yeah, it was mind shattering, it was mind altering. When I did it, it was one of those feelings like I wished I'd never done it, but I don't ever say that to yourself when you're on something like that, because once you do, you've stepped over the edge and you go into bloody looped out mode. There's no coming back after that usually, so you just calm down and breathe. I mean, at this stage when I first blasted off, I just wish I wasn't there. Just make sure you're prepared for this, because it's as much as you can be, and it doesn't matter. As much as you are prepared for it, it'll still rattle you to the bones. It'll still shake you to your core. You'll still, you doesn't matter how much you prepare yourself. You can watch the Spirit Molecule a million times, and I tell you now, most DMT trips are nothing like that. A lot of those people that are on the Spirit Molecule, they weren't having very high dose trips compared to what I just told you about. Okay, so the dose that I just had there was equivalent to over the high dose of DMT on the Spirit Molecule. So therefore, yeah, a lot of the trips where they're talking about in the blackness, anything swirling around, that's like in a sub-breakthrough stage. It's not really all the way through on DMT. It's magical, but it's not all the way through at the other side. Okay? A lot of research on it. Yeah, as in a lot of research on the dosages of the Spirit Molecule. And the feelings that you get on DMT, or you experience that many feelings that quick, and they're that powerful. It's like having 1,000 stronger feelings than you've ever had before in your life. And they go through them all. I've never had a sexual, people report it, but I've never had a sexual DMT trip, as in I've never had one that's made me horny or saw something that, whatever, and I've tried to wheel tits and that sort of stuff into it, just to try and change the trip, to try and make it. You think, I'm a bloke, I'll try and wheel a bit of boob into the trip. If you can wheel anything, you'll be able to wheel something like that. But no, you can't. It doesn't work. It might do for some people, but I can't. I can't wheel my psychedelic adventures. They don't happen. I can lucid dream in them, but I can't wheel the experience when you're under a full psychedelic experience, or especially DMT or a breakthrough dose. It just doesn't seem possible. It does at low doses when you're coming out and you go into a lucid dream state, but it's not when you're under the full effects of dimethyltryptamine. My experience. Okay. And people say DMT is all in your head. No one really knows. Yeah. It just says here, I wished I didn't have it at one point. Talk about the Large Hadron Collider there, we don't need to get into that. So I will say something about the Large Hadron Collider. It sort of made me think about this when I came out of DMT. I thought, well, am I entering new dimensions, or what's going on here? And I thought, well, the Large Hadron Collider, that was one of the theories they were testing with that, to see if different dimensions exist. And to be able to spend billions and billions and billions of dollars on, say, a machine like that, and they're building another one now, you must have a fair decent science theory, you'd think, to model it off or base it off, which will warrant spending that much money. There must be some little hint of something that they must think could be possible. So that's just something to think about. Yeah. What else we got here? This summary. Many years research still does not prepare for the experience. The feelings were like 1,000 orgasms all over at once. Extreme emotion. It was way too overwhelming and powerful, intense, strange. Computer graphics, CGI, real 4D, 3D, resonance frequency, fractals. It was extreme. Words aren't enough. The English language don't paint the picture of DMT. Don't have the words to describe the absolute crazy brilliance of the experience. I had feelings on DMT, just every emotion was just like times a million. It was just so hard to deal with, but they all come so fast, it's just overwhelming. Until somebody's experienced a breakthrough dose of DMT, and nothing can compare. I've had lots of shrooms and different things over the years, when I was younger, trying to reciprocate the effects of DMT, or chase it, so to speak, and it just doesn't seem to work. And if it does work, you've got to take that much of it that you put yourself in pretty dangerous territory, health-wise. Yeah. So, and I actually came out, and this is how much it'll fuck you up, this is how strong the experience is. I'll read this to you and you'll think this is loony, but this is how powerful it is. Humanity theory. Obviously the emotions felt on DMT can't be matched in our reality, so I think because of the fact you can't physically touch or kiss or hug or hit or embrace or hurt anything, then as a soul experiencing many different realities or realms, this earth reality as a human is so my soul can experience a beautiful, majestic planet in the physical sense, especially the emotions from touching a loved one, hugging your children, patting your pet, etc. Physically, I don't think the human body could cope with hyperspace emotions or levels of emotion. The brain would pop, you'd just explode, or you'd melt. So this experience is this Earth experience is a physical learning curve to develop our species for a greater destiny or purpose. Enjoying and embrace your family. For now, yeah. Live life, live this reality, and learn. That's pretty strange. What I'm trying to say is that the only thing that I can do as a human, as stupid as this sounds, that's not better than DMT or more over the top, is touching somebody, kissing your wife, hugging your children. That's about it. All that physical aspect of it is, as you expect, is the human thing. The rest of it, any human doesn't compare. It's got nothing on it. You can jump out of 10 planes in your lifetime. You smoke DMT once, and I can guarantee that you're more scared smoking DMT. Okay? It's that fucking powerful, it's ridiculous. So, sum up my trip, sat there, didn't know it was going to go on, chucked fucking 38 milligrams in the thing, did it all properly, smoked it all in, had a massive body buzz come on after a short period of time, a few fractals came up, felt like I passed through a tunnel or something, it was lifted up, felt like I was floating, went straight up through something, as soon as I did I was just shot straight out into this bloody grate. just nowhere, nothing, just bang. This huge room appeared. I went through this corridor of computer graphic stuff and then went into this room which was jewelled and encrusted, and it was bright and shiny, and there's two little elves at the front walking around, doing their job, so to speak, and there was a catwalk down the middle. You can see crystal box in the middle there. Got inquisitive, had a look, dude came out, scared the shit out of me, said a prayer, got ejected out of there. Went to a realm, about 6 different realms full of little elves, all little guys, hundreds of them, all telling me stuff, saying stuff in a different language, hiding up signs, doing all sorts of stuff, and it was just overwhelmingly, mind-bogglingly crazy. In the end I laughed and came out of it, and laughed again and was ejected out of it, and that was my first experience. And on the other side with DMT, might sound much, but I thought when I saw Machine Elves, and I thought, nah, this can't be right, it just can't happen, this is just not right. Like, I thought Terence McKenna's theory of all this sort of stuff was just a little bit far-fetched, silly stuff, but here we are. And I've seen different entities now, and it's not just these guys. And I don't mean entities like fractal patterns making up entities, I mean solid dudes that are just pretty much sitting here like I'm sitting here talking to you, just in a different realm. Look, it doesn't look like I'm talking to you. Yeah, and your brain will just go fuck, and you pop, and you'll think you killed yourself. And if you haven't, you'll probably wish you were dead. You're getting blasted off. As I said, the information that you see is like reading a different language. You've got no idea what you're looking at. Just leaves you flabbergasted. You're always just thinking, how was that possible? And after that, I smoked DMT a couple of times, a bit of lead up to it. And after I smoked that, I didn't smoke DMT for another 6 months or more. I didn't touch it. Didn't want to touch it. If you have to ask yourself if you've had a breakthrough, then you haven't had one. Once you do, you'll go through. But then saying that, if you've never done psychedelics and have a little bit of DMT, you'll think that if you go, 15 milligrams or so, you'll think you're having a breakthrough. You'll see stuff you've never seen before. It'll be like dropping 2 acid tabs anyway. Weaker ones anyway. But someone who knows what the go is, yeah, well, you'll know when the other side comes and you see it. You'll know. You won't need to ask anybody. It'll just leave you wondering. All the questions that you'll be asking just leave your mind boggled. This sounds stupid. I found the Book of Enoch. I was reading that, and I don't know anything about Enoch. I might have touched him. He's Noah's father, grandfather, sorry, in the Bible, and he was the only man in the Bible to walk with God, and he was God's best mate. Now, if you go get the Book of Enoch and you have a look at it, it tells you about when Enoch used to travel every day. He used to go home in the afternoon. He used to do something, and he used to go and see God. But you read the story about how he gets to God and what he does and what he sees when he gets there before he goes out traveling and experiencing the whole heavenly realms or whatever he does. Have a look how he gets there, the experience he goes through, and have a look at the room he ends up in. And I'm not joking. It's very similar to what I just said. And I found this out after the fact, and I was just blown away. I was just like, this is fucking crazy. He starts talking about this crystal room and all this shit, and I thought, is that where I went? Maybe I've seen something similar to what he said, but it's very similar. I don't think I've been to where he's been, or I've seen something very similar to what he's talking about, and it scared the shit out of me, but yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. And I said, Terence McKenna, I hadn't done much. I liked Terence, but I thought he was a bit fucking loopy till I started smoking DMT, and then I realised he actually knows what he's on about. He really does. Yeah. So sorry to dribble on. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you can go back and sort of have a look at the video and mind-bogglingly think, what did he say? That's a bit crazy. And yeah, it's nothing like the spirit molecule. That's the worst part. If you have a big hit of DMT, it's not. I thought I was going to go have a lovely space journey. You think it's going to fly past and see love and energy and all this sort of lovely stuff. I've never seen any of that. Fractal tunnel, ancient looking, big elf looking samurai dude. They're not. They don't look like elves or samurais, but there's no words for them. So you try and find the closest English word that your body can. That your brain can associate with the similar shape to what they are, or similar to what they are. I don't know what they are. That's why people call them those. They're not elves. They're not. Yeah, they're not. They, what else do you call them? They look a little bit like some have got little pointy heads on their small in structure. Some of them they've got certain features that make your mind tell you if it's an elf. You look at a tree and your brain goes, that's a tree because you know it's got leaves and whatever else. The same as an elf, it's got certain characteristics, this shape, and you know that's what it is, and that's what you. Yeah. But as I said, some people make shapes out of the fractals with their own pick stuff. You don't need to. If you go far enough in DMT, you don't need to make shapes up, so to speak, with your own mind. You don't have to pick shapes out of stuff. They're just there. If you see a jester, or I'll talk about that later, I went to another trip that was fucking way out there. I had a fair few actually. I'll talk about those a bit later. This is the first breakthrough dose of DMT I had. The first one I actually seen the other side. So I've gone from having a little smoke, a little chuff, a few full doses to loading this shitload of stuff in the cone and getting it perfect. And yeah, whew. It's not for the faint-hearted. And then yeah, you won't get bored mowing the lawn or painting your house or anything like that anymore. You always have something to think about. There's never a moment in your life that you're ever bored mentally now, because when you are bored, you go back to think about, what was that? How did that happen? Oh, that was spun out. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a comment. Send us an email. And please subscribe. If you've got any ideas, you want to talk about anything I've talked about, or any aspect of any of this, just give us a buzz. I'm quite happy to talk to anybody. Yeah, it's send us an email down the bottom there. I'll get back to you in a couple of days, if not a day or a week or so. I mean, this channel hasn't actually exactly taken off yet, so I'm not trying to get it to take off, but I'd like a few more people to watch it. I'm trying to put out a rational way of DMT, not like Shaman Oaks and all these other people running around sprouting off garbage. It's not garbage to them, but it's just giving DMT a massive hype than what it needs. It's crazy stuff. But it's not. That Shaman Oaks break really sort of grinds my gears to say. That's why, yeah, because it's he's got a very narrow-minded idea of what this experience is about. Okay, you call yourself whatever you like, but it doesn't mean deep down you are. That's just ego talking. Oh yeah, I mean, me bagging him out's a bit of my ego too, but I'm trying to do it for the right reasons, not trying to make myself look like a hero, because I'm not. Like you. DMT's not fun. It's fun when you come back. Don't do DMT for fun. It's not a page. Like someone comes into the room and you load them up with DMT and they don't know what it is, and you give it to them, you'll fucking need to kill them. They'll be that scared and mentally bloody frightened. I mean, you can't move. You're on the couch like you're dead. You're slightly breathing, and that's about it. Your body's near shut down. Okay, it's not fun. Why do you keep doing it? Because, well, you ask, or what? It's very enjoyable at low doses, but high doses, it's not fun. It's amazingly magical, and you do get some overwhelmingly great joy out of it. But it's not a fun experience. Be safe. Always be safe. Have a sitter. Know your stuff, like I said in the other videos. Know your stuff. A lot of people around at the moment getting a case of DMT and they're not washing it properly, and I've seen some garbage all over the DMT nexus of people making their own DMT and not doing things properly. So just make sure you know what you're getting. Don't go, and make sure you do the 5-MeO test first, guys. Make sure you do the MEO test. Make sure you smoke 3 milligrams of DMT in a bong. If it does, or whatever, if it doesn't do anything, yep, good. If it's MEO, it'll do a fair bit. Don't start with 20 milligrams. If it's MEO, you might not come back. Next time we're going to talk about a few more trips, some different ones, different places I've seen, different things I've seen, things I've talked to, and yeah, I can't wait to see you guys next time. So thank you very much for joining. I'm AM Reaper. This is DMT, Journey of the Infant Mind. Cheers, guys. See you next time.